All right, so hey to everybody who is joining us today for another Tea Time Tuesday. I am Anna with Magic Yoga, and we have Lane with Anchorage Retreats in Michigan joining us, and we also have Desiree with Zen Tide Yoga in Texas joining us. Today's episode, we kind of wanted to touch on morning routines and what you can do to either get started or add to your practice. We also want to hear from you guys. So if you're watching this with us right now, drop a comment at any point so that we can try and catch it and respond to you. Um, but we're also going to kind of touch on the new moon energy that's approaching us tomorrow for Earth Day. So, Lane, was it you that was going to go first? Or yeah?
Sure. Yeah. So I've probably had this morning routine since for about 6 months now. Been trying to keep to it. But I basically start with journaling. I first read like from my little book of Dharma. So it's a little snippet of 365 teachings. So kind of gives me a place to start on contemplation, and then just kind of get my brain working. And then I feel a little weird about this, but I have like 3 journals that I write in. One is a gratitude journal, which I really, really like. And I try to do different stuff every day. So it kind of keeps you in that gratitude mind space, thoughts of abundance, all that kind of fun stuff. And then just basically having something to write down, a to-do list, any fears, anything, and just kind of leaving it so that the rest of my day I can kind of let it go. Because I tend to overanalyze and think that I need to do certain things, but if I just write it down and if I don't get to it, I don't stress out as much for some reason. Yeah, and then for this new moon, actually, I've been starting a new asana practice. So I'm going to be doing at least 24 Surya Namaskars or sun salutation sequences every day. Not all at once because I'm not there yet. But so I've been doing in the morning, 8, middle of the day, 8, and then at night before I go to sleep, 8. And it kind of keeps a lot of energy going. So that's what I'm trying to bring into my morning routine at this point. So that's pretty much it for me.
Well, I was just wondering real quick, Lane, why 24 Surya Namaskar? And I asked because that's one of the things I just started a new routine, and that was number one is to start my day with a Surya Namaskar.
Mhm.
And since I haven't really been doing that on the daily basis, I was like, okay, 3 cycles in the morning and 3 cycles in the evening outside of my practice or my teaching. So I was just curious why you chose 24 and if that had to do with the new moon or.
Really what because I started with 16 and then it would kind of split up 2 times, but I felt like I was losing a lot of energy in the middle of the day. So doing 8, at least it gets my heart rate up. I do take 8 breaths in between each one though, so not to like overexert myself when that's really not the point that I do it. Mostly it's like a meditative, like moving with my body and my breath kind of action for me. So I feel like 8, 8, and 8 just feel like a good, like circular kind of thing for me. So I don't know. I mean, like it was just sort of like, let's do this. And then it kind of worked out. So you can always test it, see if it works.
Well, yeah, I was telling Anna, actually, that's been an issue for me is that when I stopped working my daily server job, I had no longer a strict hourly obligation to anything other than the classes I teach virtually, which are all in the evening. So my time for wake up kept getting later and later and later until it's now like noon or maybe even 1. And I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like the way it feels to wake up and half the day is gone. And so I've written daily schedules like 3 or 4 different times, my idea of a daily schedule, but I haven't done it. And so I woke up this morning, day 1 of my new routine, and we were talking about, the new moon coming and things like that. So I wanted to implement it right away. And the first thing I did when I woke up was set an intention, and it was just to start this new routine. And so I'm kind of just, I guess myself looking for things I can do that would benefit me better as I'm implementing this new routine, like I do want to look into more Ayurvedic ideas that I can start to incorporate in the mornings and in the evenings. I let my nights get really loose and chaotic, and that can really be disruptive, like for my focus, for feelings of balance. And so I'm reiterating a routine in my life right now.
So what was your routine that you wanted to start in the morning?
Well, like I mentioned, the Surya Namaskar, I definitely want to do intention setting in the morning. I think that's important, and I think it made a big difference for my day. Routines are really beneficial because they help you focus and they help you deal with kind of like the chaos of life, because you're so used to a standard. When one thing crazy pops up, you're like, oh, okay, this is something new. I can focus on this one issue without feeling every day and every moment is, taking it
Yeah.
as also in childcare, I don't have kids, so I don't have an obligation in that meaning either. But I know from experience working at the school, we were on a strict schedule in their curriculum. And these are 2 and 3-year-olds, and when you take them off that for one instance, like the yoga teacher doesn't show up or the music teacher isn't there or it's raining, man, it just shoots children's cycles completely off. They're like, what is this madness? It's lunchtime. Why are we not eating lunch? And so they really learn almost to the minute, like what their daily routine is. So when that gets disrupted also, like it can cause that chaotic feeling, which is stress and anxiety and a lot of other negative emotions. So I think it's really, really important for everyone to really have some sort of structure with room to fluctuate.
Yeah, that never goes away. That chaotic feeling like,
And then, like saying, or touching on what you're saying, Desiree, I had posted in the Facebook group what my schedule has been like. And that wasn't something that I just whipped up to put on Facebook. That's really what it has been like for us since the school has went out. And we had to kind of implement it. We had to, figure out what was the best routine. But for my children and for my sanity as well, sitting there from 9 till 3, for example, doing schoolwork, that's not going to work with us, especially when I work from home as it is, and then obviously I have River and just daily household things that need to be done. So that's why we have that big break in between where we spend time together, or the children are playing whatever they're playing, or checking my work emails. But that new schedule is what's now being adapted by them. So before, yes, at school, they'd go to school, they had lunch when they had lunch, and snack when they had snack, and the classes when they had it, which was a really hard adjustment for them when they first started. For us, it's been a little bit more fluent, but I mean, it's important to have that structure. And even as an adult, it's important to have that structure. So yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. And so for me, I've moved my mornings earlier. So I get up earlier before everybody else, and I'll do a practice of yoga, usually Surya Namaskars, which I'm still trying to memorize, I'll have to say. But I don't let it interrupt or ruin my practice anymore. I just go with the flow and just do what feels good. For the longest time, I never even did a Surya Namaskar. I just did whatever felt good to me in the morning to get the blood flowing, But our morning practices, as Lane's touched on, she does her journaling and things like that. So it's a lot more than just our physical practice. We have bathroom routines. Every other morning, I will actually put oil in my hair in the morning and wash it out in the evening. And I've noticed that it makes a big difference in the softness of my hair, and the ratty ends, even those are not noticeable.
Coconut oil, or what kind of oil are you using?
I actually buy a mix.
Life.
See, life is stay-at-home mom quarantine. That's how it works, right? I actually buy a mixed blend that has coconut oil and Sesame seed oil. That's the one that I buy. I don't actually remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I can post that for you. But yeah, so I started doing that probably about a month ago, and I bought a bottle about this size, and it has lasted me ages. And you know the length of my hair, so.
It's funny you said that. I just started. I found an old bottle of coconut oil made for hair. I don't even know the brand. It's just I had it in a travel thing, and I was like, okay, I'm just doing that. And then oil pulling was something else that I used to do very like religiously, and I just don't have no idea why, but I just suddenly, I guess I stopped. And
Yeah.
so now that's some great ideas. It's something that I can add to my morning ritual to get back in that. One thing I was going to mention is waking up at 9 a.m. this morning, like I said I was going to commit to do. That's like 3 or 4 extra hours of my day. Well, I could spend that full first hour. I took a nice long shower and like spending that time for just physical self-care, like that. I like old nail polish that I'm neglecting to take off, or whatever. So that's another thing that I think is important in your daily schedule too, is giving your time, yourself time, morning or night, for that personal self-care.
Absolutely. And then, I mean, you said, oh, taking care of that old nail polish. And that's something else. A lot of people who are like, oh, I need a morning routine, they think it's a lot more just, yoga and Ayurvedic practices. But it's not. Like, we've got eyebrows to take care of. There's shaving to
I
do.
just did
There's
mine
nail
today.
polishes. Like, this is your time to literally take care of yourself in that aspect. Um, and so, yeah, thank you for that reminder because we forget that a lot.
Mhm.
No, it's been really nice today, and I'm really taking a lot of notes. Setting that intention, starting your practice, that extra energy is definitely very, very noticeable. Also, it sets my focus. I'm a lot more motivated to stick to that schedule, which, I mean, in the outcome makes me more productive, and healthier, and it's important to find that balance, and I think that's what routines really are, is just defining a balance of everything you want to do in a day or in a week, and learning to set that in some sort of function so nothing gets missed, and then you're not backed up or overwhelmed, and things like that.
Yeah. And then I've been noticing, because I'm a very to do, like I like lists of things that I need to do. And when I first started to try to do like a daily thing, I did overwhelm myself, and I put too much on, and it had to be a certain like hour of the day I would do everything. And that extreme isn't helpful either. So you kind of, like Anna was saying, you got to go with the flow sometimes, especially if you do have a family. That baby's gonna cry when you don't expect it to, or they get crabby, and then you have to stop what you're doing. And instead of getting frustrated or like stressed out that you're not going to get your routine done, you have to be like, you know what, it's just going to push it back an hour, or it's going to be okay. So like
Yeah.
I've gone to both extremes of just laziness and not doing it, and like overdoing it. So you kind of have to play with it, because you can't just stick to it religiously all the time. Like, yeah, it'd be great, but you just have to give yourself some grace, because it won't always work out the way you want it to, and most of the time it won't.
Yeah, being organic is really important, and I mean, even in developing your own routine and schedule, it's gonna affect or conflict even at times with the other people in your house. My husband is a morning person. He wakes up super early and goes to bed early. I was waking up late and staying up late. So, there was issues with him, not waking me up in the morning and me not keeping him up at night, and just learning to balance that, times that I'm upstairs recording for my classes, and times that he's doing things downstairs in the living room where volumes can be conflicting, So, yeah, I think it's great to be organic. I think that's the most stress free way to do it, is for myself to give myself an outline. This is what I hope to achieve, and then I'm going to organically go with it and see how well it flows for that day. Maybe Monday and Wednesday it's great, but on a Tuesday it doesn't work, and I think that it, like I said before, balance is just the key to keep in mind, that it's just a matter of changing something, or making a little tweak here, or a sacrifice, or a compromise somewhere. with
And
it.
it's important though to keep that balance, because like Lane was saying, you know, it's been one end or the other. And I personally have found myself where I'm like, okay, well, it's not that big a deal. I'll just do it tomorrow. But then tomorrow rolls around and I'm like, oh, well, it's not that big a deal. I'll just do it tomorrow. And that just happens over and over to the point where you even stop making excuses and you're just not doing it anymore. So you really have to make sure that if you could even just fit in a little bit. Hi, this is River.
So cute.
This is my reason for interruptions and why I have to be relaxed in my schedule.
Right.
But yes, so yeah, even if you can just fit one thing from your schedule to just kind of help keep you on track, I feel it's important, you know.
Mhm. So cute. But anyway, so I think that for me, I haven't been doing asana practice as much as I was planning on. So that's kind of what I'm integrating into this new moon. For a couple of, well, probably since I started my teacher training, I've been more like I have it on my calendar of when the new moon is, when the full moon is, and kind of keeping track of that. But I had never really did anything about it. um, I'd heard there's so much energy in either way, you know, like full and new. And I was always pulled to the full moon because it's pretty and, you know, you can feel the rays on you and stuff. But I really want to start to get into the habit of just basically having it as a reset and just to be like, you know what, I have my one intention for this moon cycle so that again, you're not stressing yourself that if you don't hit it or you don't do it all the time, you have a brand new month next month when the new moon hits. So I've been trying to really think of what my intention is going to be. But this moon is amazing because one, it's Earth Day. Two, it's the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. And it's what is it called? The flower moon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that transition into spring where everything's growing and everything like that. So it's gonna be a lot of good juju going everywhere. So I'm excited about it.
There's a meteor shower also right
This
now.
yeah, like over here it's gonna be midnight to 2 a.m. is when it's best to see it in Michigan. So tonight. So it'd be a nice start to your new moon practice for the day.
It is, and
Funny. Oh, go on, Des.
oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, it's funny that you were saying about it being a reset for you because that's literally what the new moon is like for me. I get like this creative surge hit, and I can guarantee you that I'll be up, you know, and I'll be up throughout the entire night and I'll be writing, I'll be doing something. But then the next day, I kind of take a recoup and rest and then start again, you know, for the entire month.
Yeah, I remember you said that. You had mentioned that in our chat before, but it was funny because right after you said that, I got a phone call from a friend of mine who's actually struggling because of that right now. You know, where my first reaction was, well, embrace that creative energy, you know, bring it in, let it go. She's like, no, actually, it's becoming really disruptive because it's so much that it's, you know, messing with my nervous system and my energy, and I'm just not prepared for it. So it's coming on a bit much, you know, and that was a completely different perspective for me because I'd always, Lane, also been a full moon, like, yeah, all that energy. But the more I've been looking into things, one, as a woman and the moon cycles, which is something that I'm like aware of, but not really applied to myself. So as I've started to do that, I am becoming a little bit more aware of each moon. Plus, I'm a stargazer. So when, you know, particular moon cycles are coming around, I try to follow that. And it's just really neat to start to embrace that into your own life, like your motivation. For me, it's like this new motivation. Okay, you know, everything is new right now. Everything is shifting right now. In the midst of it all, we happen to get a new moon, you know, this week. Why not use this as a huge opportunity for self to really embrace that energy? And that's me. And as much as I do, I'm going to keep to my schedule and wake up tomorrow morning bright and early, 9 a.m. Way early for me. But I bet I will be up all night also, just embracing all this extra energy and the excitement of it all. Because for me, I thrive on growth. It's a little intimidating, but it's achieving. It's a sense of I don't know, thriving. So I'm embracing it all. I look forward to it. And Earth Day is my favorite. So.
Do you have any Earth Day celebrations you guys will be doing in what, quarantine?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. If y'all don't know or want to know, I am more than happy to share links. So here in Texas, I don't think it's directly through our state, but edx.org, or I'm sorry, earthx.org is doing their entire expo that was supposed to be at the fair. They're doing it all virtual, and they've got some really cool stuff planned. And I was reading through their topics and stuff, and it's really cool stuff. And so I'm gonna try and tap into a few here and there, see what's going on with it. I'm sure they have really cool virtual displays. And then Earth Guardians is also a really big important group for me, and they're doing a 3-day virtual Earth Day deal where they'll be going through a lot of different topics as well. So yeah, just some really fun Earth stuff. I'm about to go barefoot for the next few days, so.
Yeah, I've been pretty much barefoot this whole time. I mean, even going outside, I'm on my deck and just circling the house,
I love it. I'm not gonna lie, I do love it a little bit.
Yeah.
I've told Seth even driving the car has been a little bit weird, so it's all adjusting.
You be doing it driving the car?
Well, yeah, because I wouldn't drive for like a week, and then I'd have to drive somewhere, and then I'd be like, wow, this is weird. I feel like this is a vehicle before.
Yeah, it does feel weird, especially because if you're used to doing it and then you don't for a while, it's like, why? Like this is odd.
I mean, it might have even been as far as 2 weeks before I had left the house. I mean, it had been a minute, so it was weird.
Yeah, well, we're on day 37 since school's closed here in Maryland.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, summer's early. I guess we can't complain about that. Well.
For you.
About snow this morning, and I'm like, summer's early.
All right, so what, before we wrap up then, what tasks are you guys, what intentions, I should say, are you guys setting yourself for this new moon?
Well, for me, I just want to get more active in my, like I was saying, my asana practice, and just getting, get my blood moving for the most part, and not necessarily doing it just because I have to, just to get into the mindset that this is, energy that I can use throughout the day. And also with the creativity thing, I haven't been able to sleep because of that. So it's like trying to figure out that balance there too. And maybe just be like, you know what, I got to shut my brain off, even though I have a million things going on there. So just, finding a balance to fall asleep even when there's so much going on. So that's my intention, to just stay active and chill out to sleep.
I'm so sorry.
All right. You were talking about being organic, this is it.
Like a motorcycle just goes by, like revving his engine out of nowhere. I'm like, okay.
So, all right, what about you, Desiree?
Well, like I said, implementing this new routine is really important for me, because it's going to give me the time I need for the things I'm using this quarantine time for, which is finding balance between all my multiple jobs and areas of interest and focus, finding balance in between self-care and not just sleeping in till noon, things like that, and really getting back on that. I think it's really important, and I really do feel like there's a big difference to my days when I do wake up that way. So that's my biggest goal for the new moon, is to focus on that and embrace the creative energy myself. I finally organized my art room, and I haven't been back to painting in almost 2 years. So that's definitely on my list for the next few weeks.
Are you gonna start doing more artwork then?
I want to. Well, you know, and I was semi-successful starting out when I was doing my art and participating in shows and things like that. So I just kind of want to get back into how good it felt to sit for 9 hours straight and lose track of time, really just in color and movement and stuff like that, and then just see where that goes. I think that doing my cartoons and doodles will always be a big part of my passions, and I think that when you don't do something that you're so into, you don't notice it right away, but then when you do it again, you're like, oh man, that's what's been missing. I haven't been doodling, or I haven't been painting, or I haven't been skateboarding, you know, and you do it again, you're like, oh, that's where that ooh comes from. So just tapping back into that for me art right now. So
Yeah, so
using that creative energy and seeing where it'll go. Yeah.
definitely. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what you put out there. I like those little doodles that you've been posting on your Facebook there. They're
It's
cute.
been a while.
Yeah. All right. So for my new intentions, I'm actually on board with Lane because I too have been slacking in my asana. Meditation, not a problem. Mantras, not a problem. But yes, asana, I've been a little bit more relaxed in than I normally am. I mean, I do my morning practice, but then it's just kind of like a one and done thing, and I've been slipping. So I want to pick that back up and be more, I don't know, strict with that, I guess. I was trying to find a more elegant word than that, but there you go. But yeah, so I think really that's probably it. With the new moon coming, I just kind of go all out there and exhaust the body and just write it all out and then organize it later. But that's the best way for me to handle that kind of energy is just to literally wear it out. You know, I can't sleep. I can't go to sleep and just, you know, take some sleepy time tea and be done or some chamomile or anything like that. It just doesn't work. My brain overnight is just ticking, 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 ticking. So, yes, I will be with pen and paper tonight, no doubt, and just kind of
Yeah, I can't even get myself to drink the tea. That's where you're at. You're like, no, I can't do that yet. There's still stuff, you know, there's still much to be done. I can't settle down yet.
Yeah, but it's like a battle of the wills. You know, I've got like the creative surges going on, and then I've got the if you know if I try to take some tea or something to calm down, it's like the calmness surges going through. You know, and there's like half of my brain saying, "Okay, it's time to chill. Your body's working out," but this is just like, "No, keep going." So.
Well, while we're on that topic, my husband just got home from the hardware store. He had to get some parts for the lawnmower, and this is another creative project I'm doing with all of our outdoor stuff.
Ooh.
So, yeah. So that was something that popped in my head, like, what, day before yesterday? And I was like, can you give me spray paint?
Yeah.
I need to oomph some stuff around here.
That's funny. That's cute. Well, be sure to share how the steps turn out.
Thank you. I will. I will. And thank you for sharing your ideas and stuff with me. I know a lot of those things I'm going to take and be able to incorporate myself. I can't relate to asana because my biggest thing is not the physical practice. Mine is more just focusing on that personal practice and tapping into that. Because I definitely, unfortunately being on live video for all my classes, I have to demo for that 5 classes a week already. So it's like when it comes time to personal practice, it's like, okay, tap in here. You're not teaching. This is your own thing, you know.
You should try working on maybe some meditation. I don't know how much time you get to do that, but I find that that's the biggest opener for me on a spiritual level.
You know what? I've neglected that a bit, and I think for the mass meditation that just recently passed the global meditation, my husband and I went upstairs and really did it. And I think I mentioned too, we set a timer, but I turned do not disturb on, so the timer never went off. So we ended up being up there for like 35, almost 40 minutes or something, or some really extended period of time. And I was like, wow, that was amazing. Like, we need to be doing this more, like way more. That was great, you know. So that's great advice actually. So I will actually need to start doing that. That could be an intention that I set with this new moon. It's just commit to the one moon cycle of meditation.
Well, that sounds great. Yeah, I've never really been able to have that time. But I know just even from the time where I'm not disturbed during my practice, I'm like, wow, that was fantastic. So I get it. All right then, ladies. Well, thank you again for coming on the call. It was lovely as always.
Thank you for having me. I was excited to be here. It's so good to see you, ladies.
Absolutely. And for everybody that's watching, Lane and Desiree's information will be in the comment box below.
Thank you.
Bye.
Enjoy the new moon.
Bye. Namaste.
Namaste.
Hope she left.
Okay. Yeah, I see. Stop recording. Do you want to stop cloud recording?